Thank you for having me today, and thank you for trusting us to use some of the income from this congregation to help those of our community. I want to give you a little bit of a story of what Lindsley Avenue Church of Christ is, what we're doing and what we're about, and how we can work together. Our building is having its 130th birthday this year. It was built in 1894. A group of Cumberland Presbyterian worshipers decided that there needed to be a congregation in that suburban part of town, Rutledge Hill, which is maybe a mile from downtown Nashville. It was very far out of town. It was considered one of the first suburbs of Nashville. So they came together, and our cornerstone was dedicated in 1894. The building was completed in 1895. That group worshiped there, continued to do the good work that we're trying to do now in the community until 1920. Some disagreements within the Presbyterian Church led to them needing to sell their building. And close by, a few streets over, David Lipscomb's congregation was meeting, and they were growing. They needed another building, wanted to stay in the area. So they paid the whopping sum of $5,000 to take on the building and moved in 1920. There were 1,600 people that gathered at the first meeting at Lindsley Avenue. We're at the corner of 2nd Avenue and Lindsley Avenue, right across from the Metro offices. You've been down there, I'm sure, for some kind of government work. If you've been there recently, it's changing a lot. It used to be very desolate and a drug haven, I suppose. But we've been there through all of that time, and we decided in 2015 that our building was getting in very, very bad shape. A lot of deferred maintenance, as they say. And we knew that the only way that our small congregation could do anything about that was to create a nonprofit. I was fortunately working at the Community Foundation at that time and heard about all the good work that nonprofits do, and I think this may be an answer in a way that we can get additional funds to support our building. And so we created that nonprofit. We call it Preserve Lindsley Avenue Now, PLAN for short, because we plan to make our building a safe, happy place for everyone to come and worship. So for about 10 years now, we've been working to restore the building. We started with an architectural study, and they said you need to secure the envelope of your building. So we've done tuck pointing and masonry work and gutter work, all things that I didn't know about and what they were, and have learned along the way. Plaster falling off the walls, and every time it rains, more plaster off the walls. But we found, and we've done a great job. We've finished the exterior of building, except a few gutters that we plan to do this year. We've started restoring the interior, the stained glass windows. There's 45 of them. They're beautiful, but they're all in terrible condition, particularly the woodwork on the outside. But we have known all along, just as Margie explained to us again and reminded us this morning, that our building is not why we're there. Our building is there to, we use the hashtag preserve to serve, and that's what we try to do on that, what we call the little church on the corner. And you've become a part of that with what you've given us this year to do our work. I want to tell you just a little bit about what's happening there at Lindsley Avenue this morning, paint a picture of their worship service, just like you're worshiping here, and we're worshiping here today. We have a very different demographics. God's placed us in a place that we can serve those of our neighborhood. We're a mile from the rescue mission, a mile from Room in the Inn. We have next door, we have Wayne Reed Christian Child Care Center. Next to that, Youth Encouragement Services. Across the interstate, we have the Napier and Sudicum communities. So we're surrounded by people that are in need, and that's what our work is about there. And we've been given that opportunity to serve those people along side by side with us. And just as Thomas said this morning, everybody is sacred, and that's what we try to give to those that enter our doors. We have usually about 40 members right now that are currently worshiping, just like everywhere else, down from the COVID days and rebuilding. One time, we usually on Sundays had about 40 people from the unhoused streets of our community. It's rebuilding. We probably have, of the 40, probably 15 today are in marginal housing or no housing whatsoever. And so we decided that part of our work there was to be a safe, secure place for all people to feel welcome, so that everyone that comes in our doors is greeted by name. We know their stories. They're welcome no matter what they look like, where they slept the night before, or what their needs are. And we said we start out with a worship service similar to what we've had here today. And then after the end of our service, we invite anyone that has needs to come back to what we call the breakfast room. It's a community room. And everyone that needs one is given a bag lunch that's been prepared that morning for them to either eat then or take home with them. Once a month, we have hot meals that we all sit together and eat. We have bus passes for those that need them. We have weekly bags of food that can last several days and don't need to be heated up. We have toiletries, all the things that people need, but mainly we just give a time of belonging and connectedness and togetherness. And now, why am I here telling you about that today? And that's because we also have a clothing room that you have helped us tremendously with this year. There's a picture of it in the, I think you call it Order of Worship today, and that you can see a snapshot of what the cabinets look like. We knew that there was a need for people that came in, that they needed some basic things. T-shirts, pants, socks, coats in the winter, scarves, and gloves. So we have a limited space. We're, like I said, an old building, and we wanted something that was respectful, that people could use when they wanted to, that was easy for them to use. And the work just took off, and we kept getting more and more things, and we had bins and buckets and overflowing things that were coming in, and we just knew that we needed to do something to make this more enjoyable for those that were using it. So I was driving down from West End one day, and I saw the sign that said it was that your community mission grants were open. I said, oh, that's maybe something that I could take advantage of. Looked it up and submitted our application because we wanted to get some nice cabinets that we could organize our things and make it look inviting. And so we found out that we got the grant money, and just about that same time, a reporter from the Christian Chronicle had called us and said that this person wanted to do an article about our preservation work and our history. So we invited Ted Parks, one of your members here, to come in and do an interview with us. Came back on Sunday and was taking pictures of all of our work and things that we were doing. I had a piece of paper in my hand while I was showing him around. Someone had handed me that morning that was the official letter that we had received the grant. And so I walked back into the clothing area and I said, oh, I'm so sorry. This is all, just a mess right now. But fortunately, we have a community grant that we've just gotten. He looked over my shoulder and he said, the logo on there, Vine Street Christian, he says, well, that's where I go to church. So it was just God's providence that, are bringing us together in a lot of different ways. He's done a really nice article that just was published this week in the Christian Chronicle, and you can see that online. There's print copies out now. I'll give you the link so that you can share that with everyone, but it really speaks to the heart of what we're trying to do and has some beautiful pictures, and, we really appreciate him spreading the word of what we're doing. So as I close, I invite you to come visit. We can set up tours for all of you or some of you, just anytime. We're not open during the week, but certainly I can be there any day for you if you'd like to see the work, the beautiful building that we have. Would love to invite you to come serve. You could be there at 11:30 any Sunday to help us as we're assisting those that are in need. We have, of course, a website, a Facebook page that you can follow our work on. And we just thank you so much for letting us be a part of what you're doing and helping our community. I'd like to close just with a Jesuit prayer that was shared with me this week that I think really summarizes our work and your work. Lord, may I see you in the pleading gaze of the poor. May I hear your voice in the plaintive cry of your children in need. Give me the courage to smile, to say a word of greeting, a word of encouragement. Give me the generosity to share food with the hungry and clothes with the naked. Far be it from me to speak badly of my sisters and brothers who are suffering. Far be it from me to trample on their rights or turn them away. For the poor are your favorite disguise. Thank you.